Benito Mussolini. I'm going to that story because it's an important lesson as to what's going to cause MAGA to turn against their orange daddy, their cult leader, their messiah. Benito Mussolini came to power through propaganda. He ran a local paper 6 days a week, which was essentially the first version of Fox News. 6 days a week, Benito Mussolini pushed this newspaper of propaganda. Lies after lies after lies, scaring people and telling them lies. And it got him into power. Just like the orange guy did, that wears diapers. He came to power, then his brother took over the newspaper and continued to push propaganda while he was the fascist ruler of Italy in the 30s and 40s. They would go into sovereign nations and unalive people, and just the G side was awful. And nobody cared. He put 130,000 of his own people into basically slave labor camps that were innocent just because they were free. But what caused them to turn against him? It's the same thing that's going to turn his MAGA cult against him. They didn't care about the cruelty of going into other countries or basically the enslavement of the 130,000 citizens. They didn't care about that because it didn't affect them. They didn't care. What happened was Benito Mussolini spent so much time trying to be an alpha male, a lion, like these MAGA are, because they're insecure little children. They have to be a tough guy. They're attracted to toxic masculinity. That he ignored the economy. People had to live off of 1,000 calories a day. They had to buy food on the black market. And they couldn't afford housing. They didn't care about the inhumanity of everybody else and what happened to the women and children and the pets and the innocent people in other countries and the people that were their citizens that were in captivity. They only cared because they care about themselves. Took them out to the woodshed one day, and metaphorically speaking, and the rest is history. But it didn't end there. They took what was left of him and his mistress and they put him up in the square for 3 days, where they threw stones at him. And that's why the mustache man in Germany didn't want his body left around. Why they burned it. Because he didn't want to happen to him what they did to Benito Mussolini. See, his base doesn't care about you or me. And I'll wrap it up with a story. It'll make sense. Bruce Wayne and Alfred are in the lair trying to figure out what the Joker wants. Is it fame? Is it fortune? Is it women? Is it notoriety? Does he want to make movies? What is it? And Alfred tells a story about a caravan of rare minerals worth millions and millions of dollars. And these villagers come out and they unalive everybody and they steal all the gems. Months go by. These gems never show up for sale in the black market. Not once. 6 months later, Alfred's walking through this village and he sees these gems. The kids are playing with them. They're barefoot. Dirt floors. Very little food. And some of the gems are in the garbage can. They're just playing with them like they're toys. And Bruce Wayne is just befuddled. Like, well, I don't understand. Why didn't they sell them? They could have built houses and had shoes. And he said, it was good sport. Some people just want to watch the world burn. And as sad as it is, when we see all these reporters and TV shows and CNN and MSNBCs and Fox Lies and Lie Social and all these other platforms, they're all trying to make some sense of it. And they have a bunch of people in fancy suits and ties. And the raw truth is, it's good sport. Owning the libs is the end goal. They don't care about tariffs or the price of eggs or gas. They don't give a shit about any of that. They don't care if Rome burns to the ground. They don't even care if they're inside of it. They just want to watch the world burn because they're unhappy. And that's what you ought to see. These young men are lonely. Maybe their parents worked too much. Maybe their dad didn't play catch. Maybe their mom breastfed them too long. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe they were kicked off the baseball team or were picked last in baseball. I don't know. But they feel lonely. So they want everybody else to be just like them. They want people to be lonely. They want to own the libs. They want to be the bros. They're attracted to the Charlie Kirks and the Joe Rogans. Toxic masculinity. They're attracted to men that mistreat women. toxic masculinity. It's good sport. So let's stop trying to kid ourselves and act like there's some master plan from their orange daddy. There's not. He doesn't like the same people they do. And he makes them feel a certain way. He says, it's okay to be a loser, Billy. It's okay to be empty. Guess what? I'm going to own the libs for you. And that's all they care about. We have to just accept that that's the reality of some of this country. That's why we can't find common ground. And I will not find common ground. Because you're not interested in making anyone's lives better. You didn't even vote for yourself in the election. You voted against the Democrats. You could be homeless, without shoes, without a shirt, eating garbage on the side of a street. You know what? You'll still vote for a Republican in a red state. Because you want to own the libs. Because it's good sport. Because some people just want to watch the world burn. So the only way to get around it is to have a lot of firemen like myself that are going to help combat the toxic masculinity. The jokers in this country that wear red hats, that used to wear pointy white hoods. That's the only way this is going to change. Just accept them for what they are. You can't justify it. You can't logic with them. You can't reason with them. You can't show them facts. You can't show them videos. If Donald Trump ate a Tesla on national TV, they would think that he's fighting for them, that he's a real man. It's a cult, people. It is. There's no master plan. They don't care if anybody's life's better. Sure enough, their own. But I'll tell you this, at some point, when they can't afford food, they'll turn on their orange daddy and they'll blame George Soros and they'll blame Joe Biden. But they won't be able to avoid reality for that much longer. Have a good day.